When we look at human evolution, what we see is we're going to describe Homo sapiens, this form that we're currently in, is about 70,000 years old. 60,000 of those years have been as hunter-gatherers. And our DNA has perfected us to assume that role, to be hunting, eating protein and fat from the successful hunts that we have, but also foraging, knowing that you could eat this green plant and it wasn't going to kill you. I found a nut. I stole an egg. I mean, this is human evolution, and we were fixed in that pattern for roughly 60,000 years. 10,000 years ago, we developed the ability to cultivate grain, and that was really the dawn of Western civilization. Now we can become a sedentary population. We can specialize. There's doctors, and there's lawyers, and there's soldiers and politicians, and this is really the basis of our culture. And that was allowed to happen because we could cultivate a singular crop that gave us enough calories that we wouldn't have to move around and forage and hunt for animals. So we are not prepared to process all of the glucose, essentially, that is in a Western diet. When I mention glucose, really I'm talking about carbohydrates, which are just long strings of glucose molecules. So the ability to process that glucose is limited in many populations. We think that the adequate diet for a human is 60% fat, 30% protein, 10% carbohydrates. What we see in the United States is a diet that's made up of 70% carbohydrates. We know that the insulin system within a human, that system that deals with carbohydrates and sugar when it comes in, is capable of managing about a teaspoon of sugar an hour. A slice of bread has 3 teaspoons of sugar. We cannot manage the amount of sugar coming in our diet, and that manifests itself in a variety of ways. But one of the ways it manifests itself is in chronic disease. So it's the issues of elevated blood sugars over extended periods of time that create many forms of inflammation around the body that lead to chronic damage to our organ systems. In particular, that would be the brain. So long-term inflammation is going to affect the most sensitive organs in your body first. And the most sensitive organ is your brain. High blood sugars lead to markedly inflammatory conditions. We saw this in COVID when the diabetics were taken out disproportionately because their immune systems were already elevated and COVID pushed them over the edge. So when we talk about food in this country, we really need to take a hard look at the carbohydrate consumption that we have. If it comes in a box with a barcode on it, stay away from it. It's not good. You know, we need to move back to whole foods and have much less carbohydrates in our diet. That will go a long way towards our health. When we talk about having less carbohydrates, we mean we have the ability to break down fat or to be in ketosis. Ketones result from the breakdown of fat or the ingestion of certain fats like medium chain triglycerides, but these ketogenic diets that we put people on are anti-inflammatory. So think about ketosis in terms of managing brain function and brain longevity.